Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digitally Uploaded Podcast, the companion podcast to digitallydownloaded.net. We are back. It's been a while. We have had issues because, well, Alan decided to up and move and be very selfish and take his career ahead of his responsibilities to the podcast. But he's survived. You've survived the flight. You're in England, aren't you?
No, I'm dead.
You're English now. You're officially at home.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm going to sweep chimneys. No, I'm Oliver Twist now. My name's Oliver. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Twist.
I love twisties.
I need to stop making fun of fish and chips and stuff now.
So he's also not drinking beer. He's also drinking a nice tea, aren't you?
I'm really angry because the first thing that came to my head regarding Oliver Twist was that I like twisties. That was the joke that I went with.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
And now it's recorded forever.
Oh no, it's going in. It's in the podcast.
We also have Harvard. Hello, Harvard.
Hello, I am still in Sydney where I cannot see a thing.
Yes, we are blanketed in smoke. It's really quite disgusting. It's everywhere.
It's like the Industrial Revolution.
No, it's not. It's much worse than that. It's much worse than that. It's an actual hellscape out there. Like, it's all orange and stuff. It's like Mad Max, but
it looks like the world ends every afternoon. The sky is orange, the sun is red, and everyone's crying.
That just sounds like my regular afternoons.
It sounds like you're just politicizing this issue. Like, it's perfectly a normal, Saturday morning.
It is a Saturday morning. We do record these on Saturday mornings, except it's a bloody Friday night for me, boys.
Well, you shouldn't have moved to England, should you? This is your fault.
Yeah, I don't think that was the problem.
We also have Trent. Hello, Trent.
Hello. I am slowly drinking a whiskey.
And
it's important to note as well.
Let's all break into song. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
This is terrible.
Happy birthday, dear
Trent.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, well, Matt's effort was good. Alan's effort was half-assed, and I didn't hear Harvard. So Harvard,
Alan didn't make any noise.
Now.
That was me. I sang. Alan didn't do anything.
No, Alan
in my defense, it's because
that's what he does.
No, it's because if I tried to sing along with it, it would make it so bad because of the slight lag. So I'm not going to ruin your good song. Trent, I hope you have a lovely
we'll make
day.
sure that it's also Hatsune Miku singing "Happy Birthday."
God, please no.
Actually, no. We've got the shark song, Baby Shark.
Why do you? No, I'm not putting that in. No, okay. I want to give context to everyone. So I get messages. No, Matt. I'm going to explain what's happened here. For context to our listeners, I get messages from Matt every so often that are designed to infuriate me, and it's just, hey Alan, what do you think of this? And it's a Miku song, and this time he took the bloody cake. He's made a bloody Christmas pud for me. And it's a remake of Baby Shark, but with Miku. And that's combining two things that I am fairly confident in saying I never want to hear ever again.
Well, on that note, Baby Shark by Hatsune Miku.
Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark, do 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 do. Mommy shark. Daddy shark, do 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 do. Daddy shark, do 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 do. Daddy shark, do 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 do. Daddy shark. Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark, do 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 do. Grandma shark. Grandpa shark, do 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 do. Grandpa shark, do 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 do. Grandpa shark, do 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 do. Grandpa shark. Let's go hunt, do 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 do. Let's go hunt, do 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 do. Let's go hunt, do 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 do. Let's go hunt. Run away, do 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 do. Run away, do 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 do. Run away, do 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 do. Run away. Safe at rest, do 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 do. Safe at rest, do 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 do. Safe at rest, do 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 do. Safe at rest. It's the end, do 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 do. It's the end, do 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 do. It's the end, do 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 do. It's the end.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the last podcast of the year. I know we've only come back for one edition special. We will be back on a regular schedule next year, I guess. But given that it is the last podcast of the year, we should probably look back at the year that was Bead. Bead?
Bead?
Bead.
It's got
Yeah.
bees in its nose.
It's the new word.
It's congested with bees.
I'm the editor, therefore it becomes the official word. It's in the style
Is
guide
that-
now and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
you know,
That's how English evolves, Alan. You'll have to teach your students about this now.
I don't know,
Bead.
dude. I was about to make a joke, but I'm not going to do it because it requires context.
Anyway, 2019 games that was good or games that was bad. Anyway, the games that was most noteworthy. Let's go with Trent. This is always dangerous. Trent.
I know.
Oh god.
Trent. So looking back at the year that was, did anything really stand out to you as a game or game event related event that kind of really defined the year that was?
Well, I'm going to be the boring person and say Death Stranding. No, in all serious, like this year, like there's been a lot of good games, and when you look at like what the second half has done over the first half, I feel like this happens like every year. It's like the first half everyone forgets, and the second half everyone it's like in their memory. It's like, yes, let's say this AAA game, which we just only played like 5 seconds ago and still playing because it's like 20 years long. But Death Stranding, in all seriousness, like breaks down barriers as much as it's not like it probably isn't like the best gaming can ever be, but in terms of what it does, it's a unique walking simulator ish. Like it's a new genre. I legit believe that. Let's start
Is that part of the Stranding genre?
Yes.
Stranding
Let's
genre.
start that argument.
He makes it so hard to like him.
His Mac on full circle
Okay,
and
no,
hates
I have an
G-Dragon.
argument actually for why he does what he does, but I'm going to let Trent finish before I begin it.
Because he's an arty wanker.
No, there's a reason.
That is a reason. It's
I mean,
a good
there is
reason.
it's a bad reason, but I think there's a more
No.
important.
No,
Well,
okay,
I mean,
so,
that's
Oh,
what.
okay,
that's
you know
what
what, Trent,
keeps
no,
swearing
no,
going.
I actually have a legit like, you know, why Death Stranding is good comment. Someone on Twitter once posted like, why do people feel like accomplished by playing Death Stranding? And I'm like, well, it's like similar to like, you know, simulation games and stuff. Like it puts you into a false sense that because you're that you're like building up stuff. So because you're like constantly delivering packages and stuff, you'll get the sense that you're like contributing, I guess. So it's sort of like simulation games where you build stuff. It's got that sort of same logic and like brain tick because you're slowly contributing, I guess, to society and you're delivering packages, and it's like the conversations make it seem like, yes, this is going to be really good. And then like, because like when you like link into worlds, you then get everyone else's stuff. Then you start seeing like all the paths and stuff which have been built by other people. And you're like, yes, I just made progress. And that's like that same little tick. So yeah.
It does seem to be like a low-key community sense, which I think is really interesting. Kojima is a madman, don't get me wrong, but he's, you know, he does interesting stuff, and I respect that. Because no one else in the AAA industry would be given that sort of reign, and I like that for him.
Well, I will say that, I mean, in terms of the AAA conversation, the second half of this year has been one of the more interesting ones for quite some time, because it wasn't just Death Stranding, it was also Shenmue 3. And
I don't know if I call that
that's
AAA. I call that
barely
AAA. I'd call
it
that
certainly
AA.
had the presence, it certainly had the prominence of a AAA game. It was definitely not the same,
I don't
making
know
the
if
same
it
budget.
did for me.
but-
Didn't
It's
didn't have the budget, didn't have the marketing.
I mean, if you
I
look at
wouldn't
how
say
many
it did.
reviews, are up there on Metacritic.com, it's, you know, it was certainly covered, and certainly had the dominance over the conversation.
I think it's because the branding itself has so much clout that
That's
you have
kind
to
of
talk
part of
about
the AAA thing.
Got
don't know. I
double A.
wouldn't call it
Remember
AAA.
double A games?
No, it's a
They were all
AA.
putting
I'm
AAA
very-
batteries into
In
our
terms
Remember
of
double A
quality,
batteries?
in terms of quality, yes, but with 55 reviews and all that kind of stuff, it was more reviewed and more covered than a lot of AAA games. So I thought, this later half of the year, let's, instead of saying AAA, let's maybe call them prominent games or whatever you want to call them. But where most
Big
years
dick
is like
games.
an Assassin's Creed, yet another Assassin's Creed, yet another EA shooter, yet another Activision shooter. That's most years. This year actually had something that I could kind of get interested in. And Yeah, it was good.
I'm glad for you. Matt.
What?
This isn't sarcastic. I'm actually quite glad for you. I'm glad that you found a AAA game that you think is actually made for you. That's really lovely.
Well, Death Stranding certainly, absolutely was. Death Stranding is an amazing game, and it is. It's a. The funny thing is, it's actually people call it weird or different or confusing or whatever. It's not really. It's just a fairly standard application of like absurdist literary theory and philosophy and stuff. It's not. It's not doing anything different that Waiting for Godot or any number of other plays or films haven't done already. But because it's done in a game context, of course, everybody loses their shit because it's not just guns and death and stuff. And I think that's
because it's harder to do. Like
it's harder to do, yes.
Combat.
And I think Kojima, well, he turned me around. Everybody who listens to this podcast knows that I'm not the biggest fan of Kojima.
We all know the period of podcasts from, I want to say, like 2016 through to about 2019, like early 2019, where Matt was just, I hate Kojima, he is balls. Can I make my argument now as to why it's so obvious? Is that okay? Can I do that?
Go ahead. Be free.
Okay, so
be free, Alan.
So basically, I was looking back at the reactions, like the initial reactions to Metal Gear Solid 2, and that game is very obtuse. Like, it has some obvious themes, but it is just... It's hard to play if you don't go into it with the mindset that games can have more than just commentary. So I think that the knee-jerk reaction to Metal Gear Solid 2, where we had all these dudes being like, hey, this game's dumb. I'm not playing as Snake, that's dumb. I hate it. This is Kojima's way of getting back at them, saying like, well, okay, you guys didn't get it because you didn't care. I'm going to make it as obvious as possible so that everyone gets it. And I'm going to call someone Die Hardman. And it's going to be great. Yeah, like, because, I don't know, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 it's getting a resurgence now. And I like that.
I really want to play that. I really want to try it.
It's also
I played that game
amazing.
for the first time on the Vita. So I bought the HD collection on Vita, which was 2 and 3. And I played 2 in 2012 for the first time. So I would have been, 16.
Oh my god, it was so young.
Yeah, no, I loved that game. No, that game's fantastic. I really liked it. And it was just around the time I was being a huge literacy nerd. So I was like into reading into things and I found it really enjoyable. And you then look at stuff like MGS4 where it's like privatization of military is bad. And it's really obvious that he doesn't like privatization of military. It's like, okay, Kojima, we get it. I think this is a reaction to that.
Well, I think...
Like, the bizarre, like, just knee-jerk, Metal Gear Solid 2 is bad because it's so not what we wanted.
He's just got that grudge notched into his bed for the last, 18 years.
Like, I would not be surprised because MGS2 did cop a lot of shit for no reason. That game rocks. That's a very
well. I mean, it was probably publisher input. Konami probably came away from Metal Gear Solid 2 deciding that
that's true.
They needed to make sure that later games were less oblique. And Kojima obviously chafed under Konami. I mean, that's obvious. That's
at what point did you get to that, Matt?
So
where was the guess?
It's because PT is a documentary on everything he did during Konami. You got to read into these things correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, the ghost haunting him is actually Konami.
Liberated of Konami, as he was, he could just kind of indulge himself with Death Stranding, thanks to the fact he found a publisher for it in Sony and stuff. And yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it is indulgent. I think it's not the perfect bit of art in that it's a little bit. Well, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect bit of art. There are criticisms.
I would argue this against you very heavily. I think you would as well, in all honesty.
Well, except for Michelangelo's David, that is a perfect piece of art. But then Suflin fucked it up by taking away his dong in the Assassin's Creed game. But anyway,
he said dong.
Death Stranding it has its flaws as a work of art, but it is a work of art, is the point, and we don't get enough of those, especially.
It's kind of like Watchmen. Like everyone's like talking about Watchmen right now because it's like this amazing literacy TV show. It's like so thinky and confusing, and it's like, well, all these like YouTube things I've been finding about it, like it's actually just like they're not like explaining the plot like up in front for you. It's like the reward is slowly scattered across the episodes. Like that's why it's so confusing. Like
No, but
it's
again, the reason that they're doing that is because we have a generation of people who still identify with Rorschach, and that's disgusting.
Yeah,
So-
it's actually genuinely terrifying that people go, "Oh
It's-
yeah, that guy's a good dude. I want to be like that guy."
I want to be like Rorschach, the greatest man in the world, who definitely wasn't a fascist. So, like, you know, that's why they do it now. It's because they want to avoid the death of the author as much as possible. Which, you know,
Well,
we
that's
look at
that, and the fact that nobody's actually taught to read art anymore. To be honest, everybody's taught STEM, where what's in front of you is basically what you is what you
I
see.
mean, STEM's important.
Matt, be very, very careful with what you're saying.
How
We're
much
talking to two
content?
teachers right now.
Well, I know. I'm not blaming every single teacher on the planet, but what I'm saying is, as an overall trend, STEM is teaching people to take things very literally and nothing else.
It's
And
the Department
STEM
of
is
education and also jobs.
Yeah, and STEM is the ultimate, education thing. That's where the focus is. And
Yeah, you
art
crane
is-
machine the kids straight into their high-paying job, and you don't let them have any fun for the rest of their life.
That's exactly right.
No,
And then
you let them pay for
arts
it.
is definitely
Pay for their name change to Barclay again, and then you move on.
well,
Gonna-
as a product
get
of the
eggs
New
thrown
South
in
Wales
the rest of his life.
education system, I believe that Matt is right. It is all teachers, and I believe that every student in New South Wales for the past 30 years should have the right to sue the government. Because that's how shit education is in Australia.
Moving
You know
on.
I feel like we're being
Alan,
blamed, Alan.
Tell us your
Hello.
game. Alan, tell us your game of, or your, I guess, a highlight of 2019 in terms of video
I'm gonna-
games, not
No, we're
Teacher.
going to do it.
planes.
We're doing this now. We're doing pathologic time.
Oh, you
We're
do.
doing it.
Are you
Did
sure
that
you don't
actually
want to
come
leave
out this year,
Pathologic
or
to...
Did you just play it this year, Alan?
No.
I think it is just at this year.
Did it
No,
actually come out?
Yeah, 2 came out this year. Yeah. So, okay,
Are you sure?
I bloody hope so, because I
I'm gonna
played it
check
this
that.
year.
I thought
Oh
if it
my
didn't
God.
come out this year, you can't talk about it.
No, because the Mole Nest is still not out yet. So the DLC with the
Okay, initial release date 2019. Do Pathologic, Alan. Off you go.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. I played Pathologic 1 when I was
No, you can't
12.
talk about Pathologic 1. Excuse me.
No.
You need the
I'm bringing
context.
I'm contextualizing it. Matt, it's a narrative.
Okay, fine. I'll read
Okay.
between the lines.
Yeah, it's frick and or you.
Just like an English teacher's explained the plot.
Yeah, no, so I played Pathologic 1 when I was 12 because my very Eastern European cousin gave me a disc which was definitely not pirated that had Pathologic 1 on it. And it baffled me to the point where I was like, I hate this. This is terrible. And I'm not wrong. That's the worst part, is that the game is really good, but it's bad. Like, it's not good, but it's so good. Anyway, Pathologic HD came out in 2014, and it was just basically an update version. It fixed a lot of the scripting issues because the original translation was interesting, to say the least. I still like the original translation because it's hilarious, but it's something. It's a fever dream and a half. Anyway, fast forward to 2019, and we have the release of Pathologic 2, which is not a sequel, and it's not a remake. It's both. And it is everything that Pathologic 1 should have probably been. Even people are saying that the soundtrack is better in Pathologic 1. I think it's better in 2 personally, but that's just me. So this game is the most... I cannot recommend this game that I've ever played in my life because it is designed for one specific experience, and it's not a fun experience. So the game is built around basically creating this incredibly oppressive atmosphere that just controls every part of the game world. And to...
Scott
I don't
Morrison's
wanna-
government.
No, this is like actually like better somehow. So like there's a horrible plague, at least it's not fire. Well, you do
Oh,
have-
so it's
there
like
are-
the English government.
Boris Johnson. Is he like the end boss?
Give it time. We'll see. All right. No. So yeah, it's a very, very good. It's good in quotation marks game, because it's not fun to play. It's the most. This isn't fun to play, but is a very, very smart and good experience as a result of that game that I have ever played. It is also the best walking simulator that I've ever played, in that it tells its story and makes you a part of the world in a way that a lot of the other ones don't. like walking around the town itself it's an experience on its own because it is so genuinely scary. If you've ever moved to a new country or new town and you've walked around it for the first time by yourself and you don't know anyone, you don't have any backup plan, it's a very similar vibe to what you do in Pathologic, because you come into there as an outsider and you walk around this horrible town that is just either going to kill you or it's going to infect you with a plague that will also kill you at a slightly later date.
Do they
Are you
also
sure you're
steal your
just not
bike,
talking about
Alan?
London?
Do they also steal your bike in Pathologic 2? If you have a bike, do they steal it?
Look, we're not going to talk about the bike. It's a very sore issue. For those of you who don't know, my bike was stolen the day it was built in London, so like it's great. Anyway, no, it's a very. I've been trying to convince everyone else on the DDNet staff to play this game, and it's never going to happen. Matt Codd bought it, and he's not going to play it because I recommended that he played the Sexy Brutal, and he only just played the beginning of it at the halfway point of this year, so it's not going to happen. But if you, the listener, would be interested in playing it, I believe it's coming up on the Game Pass very, very soon. And it is wholly worth giving it a shot. Even if you don't like it, it is exceedingly good. It's very bizarre, weird Russian art. The Ice Pick Lodge team have been doing this for years and years now. If you've ever heard of the game The Void, it's made by the same team, and you probably know what to expect. I would say go into it. Don't change difficulty settings, because the point of the game is to feel broken, and it does that very, very well. So go in, do as the game says, do as much as you can. If you don't like it, don't play it. But, you know, if you do like it, obviously continue playing, because you'll end up with one of the best experiences of the last decade. So do that.
I just pulled up the Ice Pick Lodge Wikipedia, and looking at it, it says that in the Russian Game Developers Conference, both Pathologic and The Void won the Most Non-Standard Game award. And I'm like, what the hell is a non-standard game
love
award?
that
It's like
award.
that is some like galaxy.
Can I
grade
translate that to
terrible.
English and just say it's the most cooked game award?
What the hell is a non-standard game?
Can we please do this for DDNet next year? Most cooked game of
Most
2020.
cooked.
No, can I entirely run it myself, because I feel like I need to do that personally.
I feel like that game I mentioned last time there was a podcast, the one about the honey and the beads, that would be on that list.
Oh, I actually bought that, Trent, just so you know.
Why would you buy that?
I got that on my Switch, but I haven't played it yet.
What was it called? Trent? The honey and the beads?
Where the bees make the honey, where the honey makes the bees. I don't
Where
know.
the water tastes like
Google
wine?
one of those two sentences and you'll
Where the
get.
honey makes the bees, okay.
Yeah, Where the Honey Makes the Bees or something. It's
Where the
quite
bees
cheap
are
on.
in your business.
It's going cheap on Switch. I don't think it's anything like Pathologic, but
No, I have
it's different.
a quest
that's a
to
very
collect
strange
every
segue.
stupid
But
game
you
on
should
Switch.
keep bringing that game
So
up
I
for some
need
reason.
to get this.
Because I kickstarted it, like I probably kickstarted Pathological too. I definitely kickstarted Knock Knock, so I still haven't played any of those. But
It's
you
where
know,
the bees make honey, Trent. Honey doesn't make bees.
you know,
Where the honey makes the bees.
No, did the honey make the bees first, or did the bees make the honey? That's the
This
that-
isn't a chicken
for
egg
those playing at
scenario.
home,
chicken and eggs.
Every time that there is a word broken situation, just drink. Just do it. It's
I'm already
slumber.
dry, Alan. I'm
Look.
already out.
Just chug a lug, boys.
Listen how empty this can is.
That's a good can. All right. It's
Okay,
also
nice.
8. In
We're going to
their
go for
defense, it is 8 a.m. In my defense, it is 9 p.m.
We are going to some music. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Harvard's 2019. And the music is, we'll throw Alan a bone, I guess. He did play Baby Shark before. So we'll play something from Pathologic too.
Pathologic is a very good game. This is my song.
And we be back. Okay, Harvard, 2019, looking back and stuff. Do tell us, what is your pick of the most memorable moment of 2019 in terms of video games?
I'm so sad that everything we talked about in the break is now just lost to time.
No, it's not being. I'm editing it at the end.
Okay, good. Okay, so did you know that in 2019, Days Gone was released?
No one.
Oh,
did.
we're talking about the
Yes.
shit games now. Okay, fair enough.
Because no one seems to remember this game, and it took
There's
me
a
on such a
reason for
roller
that.
coaster of it's average to it's the greatest thing in the universe to it's awful. And this was me staying up all night for 3 days in a row playing and reviewing it, and just having the biggest mood swing of all time. Anyways,
So
I'm not going to
it's
talk
Dragon
about Days
Quest
Gone.
11.
I'm
So
not
it's
going to talk
Dragon
about Days
Quest
Gone
11.
because the
No,
game
Dragon
that
Quest
I
11's actually good.
yeah that is
Mhm.
actually good.
Yep,
I
sure.
want to talk about Control because that is a really good game.
Nah, Control's too hard. Control's shit.
Alan, did you just fall off a chair or something?
No. I'm really excited because Control's a good game.
Oh, do you play Control too?
I have played. I want to say half an hour of Control.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Right,
It's
you
really
guys have
good.
to sell me on it because my issue with Control is so far I've been trying to play it, and every time I play it, everything's way too hard, and I kept getting shot by like death.
Oh yeah, okay,
zombie
I
things.
agree. It's more difficult than you think it would be. Because what you need to do is you need to shoot things and throw crap at people with your psychic powers at the same time. So you can't just play it like a shooter where you shoot some stuff and then you go for cover. You need to shoot, empty your clip, throw some crap at people, and then shoot again. And it's because of that, it makes the game really kinetic, and you're always doing stuff, and you're planning around what you're going to defeat first and how you're going to use the surroundings. And that's just the combat, right? Take away the combat, the game's still fantastic. It's like a science fiction X-Files episodic pseudoscience kind of story that riffs on House of Leaves and it riffs on Twin Peaks and all this crazy
I was going to
stuff.
say, Harvard, it's actually in the same universe as Alan Wake. It's
Yeah,
It's the same
technically it is.
universe as Alan Wake.
I
and that
actually
makes me
I
so
hate
happy.
that because I hate that they turned Alan Wake from what was a fantasy story into a sci-fi story. But otherwise, no, I dig that.
I'm just happy for more Alan Wake related content.
This is like
Did you
the
just say content,
crumbs of crumbs.
Yes, I
Alan,
did.
this is like
And because I
you
knew it
just
would
crumbs
ruin
and
your
crumbs.
life.
You said content.
I did.
I'm very
Because I knew
angry
it would
at you now,
anger
Alan.
you.
I'm very
Yeah,
angry.
welcome to my world.
I don't care how drunk you are. You cannot call things content.
It's
I'm
okay.
not
Alan
drunk.
isn't very Alan Wake, so he's saying things are content.
Matt,
No,
we're
I
on a
feel like I'm-
podcast right now. We're currently creating content, okay?
No,
Is
we are
what we're
content-
doing.
We're influencers, actually. It's important to note as well that I entirely like Alan Wake just because of the fact that the main character's in Alan, and it made me very unnerved when they were saying things to me, and there was just no pleased with that. So anyway, Harvard, how good is Control?
Control is good enough that I voted for it over Death Stranding in my poll. In my poll for
Ooh,
Game
bit
of
of
the
a spicy meatball.
To be fair, I didn't play Death Stranding, so
Well, I mean, you can't really vote for a game that you haven't played. So that's sort of just
Well,
like
Control,
That's like a
is,
cop-out.
Control is my game of the year. It's very good.
it is a
Oh,
Start
so
playing
Days
Death
Gone is
Stranding.
not your game of the year.
I haven't played it yet. I'll try it, but I don't know if it's gonna top Control because Control is like the perfect blend of actually kind of intelligent narrative and just complete B-grade pulpy trash.
It is just Sam Lake just jerking off into a page.
Exactly,
It's
that is
great.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, it's great. You can't
It's really
not
gross
love
when you
it.
put it that way.
Oh, God, you know how much I want to reference the work that I told you about earlier. Okay, no, it's fine. Anyway,
Okay, don't do it. We don't preserve your job, Alan.
yeah, it's fine. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm actually very on board with that. I think, like, Remedy cops a lot of shit for no reason.
They do.
I think that they have produced some very interesting games. I think that Max Payne 1 and 2 are very, very good. I think that Alan Wake is criminally underrated in general. Not just because of the whole name thing, but because I think the game's really interesting and
it's
big
actually it's
fun
really ahead
time.
of its time. It predated
yeah,
a lot of
it's
the walking
smart.
sims and
Yeah.
told a better story than some of the walking sims. So I'm very impressed by it. Did you
Yeah,
play
yeah,
Quantum
and then,
Break?
I didn't. I've always meant to. I think it's on
Yeah,
Game
I don't
Pass.
think it's
We're
worthwhile.
gonna download it.
Oh,
don't
I
think
did.
it's worthwhile?
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not like on the same level as the rest of them.
All right.
It's better than Control.
Well-
It's least playable.
I will have a look at Quantum Break probably. I feel like that's a game that I will buy in the near future. But yeah, no, Remedy deserve more attention, in all honesty. I think they're consistently very, very good. They are in the same league for me as Respawn Entertainment in terms of quality of games released. Like, none of their games I've thought, I don't like this, which is a very, very good sign. But yeah, no, Control's fun. Again, I've not played much of it. I fully am like building upon your assessment of it here, but yeah, no, it seems like a good time. It's good. It's good.
It is good.
The bits up until the action was good. I too enjoyed it until I got to the action scene. Is there a story mode? Can I just switch it to story mode?
Unfortunately, no. There's only one difficulty for some reason. But
Yeah.
It's weird.
yeah.
It really needs an easy difficulty. It's unplayable.
To be fair, there's a lot of strategies that you can just cheese through the game with. Like once you get the shotgun attachment.
I'm
can
at the
just-
tutorial. I did the first few shoots, and I'm at the like bit where like everyone's just everywhere, and it's like a giant pit of like people, and it's just like the first time you encounter these things. That's where I'm at. That's why I'm so annoyed about the game.
Can you pick things up and throw them yet?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, pick things up and throw them, Trent.
My
Just in
my new goal is to get Trent to play Sekiro.
I feel like he would struggle a lot with that.
I
This
want to
is a
try
slight
Sekiro,
difference.
but
I also did, and
I just can't wait for the spicy takes when Trent plays Sekiro.
I'm the epitome of like game journalists need to get good.
All right, Matt, it's
all
you've been
four of
talking-
us. Who do you think is the best at games?
Me,
Alan?
yeah. I was a Highlander TF2 player. I'm a game.
I'll take you on at Overwatch anytime, Alan.
Matt, do you? Oh, okay. First of all, I don't play Overwatch anymore because that game is trash, and also Blizzard are nightmares, and I hate them. So, yeah, play me in TF2. I'll cook you. I'm not gonna play in DOA because you'll cook me instantly.
What about Counter Strike? Some good old
Oh,
Counter Strike.
I don't think you want to do that with me either. I really don't. I've been playing that recently again because it's fun, and I also like having my entire team be Russian people is very, very good for my MMR. Like, it's very strong. But yeah, no, I'm probably a gamer. It's
Well,
not
I
a
mean,
good...
you'd probably wipe the floor with me with shooters.
because-
That's not really my genre. Let's put it that way.
Matt, I will not outread you. I will lose to you every time in a visual novel.
Competitive visual noveling. Yeah, that's the thing. That'll be a thing. Eh? You would. I mean, if
Yeah.
they could turn
No, it's-
Catherine into a bloody competitive
It's
game.
competitive reading comprehension. Which actually, even then, I think I'd be pretty
narrative
alright.
analysis.
I do
Oh,
play
God.
games that require some skill with the buttons, you know. I do. Because I
Oh,
play
really?
fighting games, you see.
Which you play DOA? That's not a fighting game.
I play all
So-
fighting games. DOA was my gateway drug into fighting games, but I play Soul Calibur, I play
I
the
haven't played
2D
Soul
ones.
Calibur. I want to play Soul Calibur entirely so I can play as Geralt of Rivia, and then I can just shout.
Jerry.
No, it's Jerry of the River.
Jerry. No, I also play, I'm pretty good at the King of Fighters.
Oh, I've been playing Garou. Dude, Garou is so good. So does anyone know what
You
Garou
mean
is?
Guru?
No, Garou.
Oh, Mark of the Wolves, right?
Yeah, Mark of the Wolves.
It's a
It's
good
the
game.
1999 King of Fighters. It's very good. Matt, what's your favorite game of this year? What's a good game for you for this year?
Well, I mean, I've got two. I'm going to do two. One's going
No,
to annoy you.
one.
No,
You're
I've
gonna
got to do two because one's going to annoy you so much I'm going to have to move away from it and then talk about the other one.
Is it just
So,
a tit game?
It's Dead or Alive, dude.
It's a tit game. Okay,
Dead or Alive
moving
6
on.
came out this
Next
year.
game.
See? Told you. But no, Dead or Alive 6 is the one I've been playing. I would have played that the most this year by far. By a long way. By miles.
I'm really mad, by the way, that you picked that I would be mad about that.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
You roll, I can actually hear you rolling your eyes every time I mention Dead or Alive.
I wasn't rolling my eyes, I was drinking my beer.
Yeah, that. Um,
From your
But-
empty can.
No, it's a 750ml beer. It's fine. I'm right.
but
It's like
yeah,
a-
I'm one of those people that fall right square into the audience for Dead or Alive. So yeah, 3 season passes in. Got lots of costumes now. Play it pretty much every week, and it's really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All of my concerns of it were washed away once I actually started to play it. It's actually a really good fighting game, and it annoys me that people don't talk about it in context of the fighting game stuff as well.
Okay,
because
so
it is
I'm playing
quality.
it up for a joke, to be fair, but it is probably a pretty good fighting game. I will probably try it when it's cheaper and when I have the time to invest in a new fighting game. So,
And in all seriousness, it is actually a really good entry into fighting games for people
Yeah.
because it's not so demanding. It has a really good kind of story slash single player mode to kind of work people into all the combo systems and stuff. And
Oh, good. Even Trent can play it. I mean, what?
even Trent can play it. And honestly, it is actually a very good intro. And that's how I got into fighting games. It was Dead or Alive. What was the one on the Xbox?
1 or 2 or 3.
I think 3.
Might have been 3 that got me
Which
into it.
Xbox? Because 1 and 2 and 3 were all on the Xbox.
Oh, sorry, X360?
Oh,
Oh,
360
4.
was 4.
Was 4,
That's
was it?
4.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it would have been 4 that got me into fighting games as a thing.
There you go.
And so I'm fairly late to fighting games, but once I got into Dead or Alive 4, I then started to look at other ones. I mean, I played some Soul Calibur and stuff beforehand, but nothing that I was really into. But after kind of getting my head around how fighting games work, thanks to Dead or Alive, I started playing the rest of them. And the only reason I can play stuff like King of Fighters and whatever, and the actually really demanding fighting games now, is because I spent so many hours with Dead or Alive. So Dead or Alive 6 continues that, and I'm very happy with it. It is the game I played most this year, so good on it. But the one that's not going to annoy Alan, probably because he has never heard of it, but it's good,
Oh, God.
is AI.
Is this going to be like... No, okay.
No,
Is
no.
this... Can I make a guess as the name?
What?
I'm going to make a guess. There was a running joke for a while with myself and Harvard where we would make up fake names of very strange games that were not designed to sell at all. And I'm going to make a bit of a guess right now that you've played a game that is called like Brave Ultimate Storm, and then a bracket Under the Night. End of
No,
bracket.
no, nothing like that.
It's
It's
actually
not
pretty
like
close to a real game. Under
It's
the Night
actually-
is like...
It's actually a fairly standard name. AI, the Somnium Files. And
Oh, that's like actually that's a reasonable name.
yeah,
you know what?
exactly. It's a reasonable game
good
for a
on it.
very name for a very good game. It's kind of basically a visual novel. It comes to us from the same creator of the Nonary,
Zero
game?
Escape series.
Zero
Oh!
Escape series. So
I actually know those games.
yeah, so
Yeah, they're
Yes,
good
they're
games,
mainstream.
right?
where those ones are kind of those are Saw-like, is in the film series Saw-like. This one is more a
Yeah,
crime
this touches
fiction,
very well.
a crime fiction noir kind of detective thing with a strong kind of cyber science fiction element as well. And it all comes together really well. It's quite intense. It's quite graphic, but it's also really well told. It's got a great mystery to it, and I put it in not really knowing that much about it because obviously new franchise, and Spike comes to us from Spike Chunsoft, which is a publisher that I don't know. I don't follow that closely in the sense that I play everything that they come out with, but it's not something that's on my radar until I start to play it. Anyway, I put the disc in to start playing, and I found myself really hooked on it very quickly. And I had to play it a lot, very fast, because I was actually on the flight to Japan pretty much immediately after the game came in. So to get it done in time to do the review, I had to really kind of power through it. And yeah, I had no trouble not putting the controller down for that one. I had a pretty sleepless night to really get across it, and really good game. Very underrated, kind of disappeared off the radar pretty quickly. But I think it's one that people will keep coming back to discover in the years ahead, because someone will recommend it to them at some point and they'll just give it a go and they'll be pretty impressed by it. So hopefully it's got a long tail. I don't know if there'll ever be a sequel or anything like that, but definitely worth checking out if you are one of the many people that, like Alan, had no idea this game existed.
Matt,
Look,
I have a
Matt, I'm
question.
going to be real honest with you. I'm not going to play this game. If it's
You should
visual
play
novel,
this game,
it's
Alan.
not gonna-
It's actually
It's-
really good. You like it.
No,
See?
but you're saying that, but I probably won't.
No, Alan, this is not me recommending a game that you're not going to enjoy just because it will
Okay, so,
annoy you.
so that's how you generally do it for me.
No, this is a game that I genuinely recommend. It's like Valhalla, the visual novel thing that I recommended to you. I genuinely recommend this one to you. It might not be entirely in your area,
honest.
but it's good.
Valhalla was.
Is it
pretty
one of
good.
those like $70, $80 like visual novel games on the Switch? Like,
It
there's too
is,
many
yeah.
of them I need to buy.
Oh, I'm
because of
not
your
gonna buy that.
recommendations.
Nah, that's the yikes in the yard from
It's
me.
worth it though.
It's not
No,
a
but-
visual novel in
It's
the
worth
same
it.
in the sense that you're thinking. It's not like it's static screens with portraits of people talking though. This one's actually fully animated and it's more like a interactive
Dragon
movie.
It's
No, it's not. No, it's not like it's not as static as Danganronpa. It's actually fully animated cutscenes and it's 3D graphics and all that kind of stuff. It is not a visual novel in that sense. It's just a story-driven kind of cinematic game. Let's put it that way.
The issue for me is that if I'm gonna buy a game that's like that, I'll buy Tokyo Mirage Sessions because that's coming out very soon on the Switch.
But that's an actual JRPG. That's not a.
I know,
story-driven
but
game.
it's got like half visual novel sort of stuff because it's in the same like not Fire Emblem.
It's also the best
Shinigami
Persona
Tensei.
game.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna be just. It's nowhere near the same kind of narrative-driven game. Even compared to a lot of JRPGs, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is pretty heavy on the gameplay side of stuff.
Really?
Mirage
Okay,
is
you just
also
sold me on it.
pretty weeb for you, Alan.
Oh,
And
is
you
it,
will find
is it weak?
you will find TMS
It's
very
pretty
strange.
weeby, Alan.
Oh, okay, I'm not gonna buy it then. Thank you for telling me.
It's all about like idol culture and like.
Oh
pop
God,
stars and
no!
stuff.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, back in
No,
down.
we should have let him play it. Then he would be
Give
like
me a JoJo
either
game.
converted
I'll
or
play
like.
JoJo.
No, but
I'll
legit.
play
Hey,
it.
actually, Matt, I have a question. Do you think that AI is better or worse than Danganronpa?
I think they're just too different to really compare.
Damn.
I mean, if you were to ask me to compare Danganronpa to the non-Origami,
Zero Escape
yeah, the
series.
Zero Escape series, I would definitely say I personally prefer Danganronpa because of its style and I guess more comedic elements.
It was almost a gotcha moment because for the last like 5 years I've been trying to get him to say that Zero Escape is better than Danganronpa, which it is. Zero Escape is, well, 999 and VLR are better than Danganronpa. Don't
Wait,
play Zero Time Dilemma.
No, hold on. Can I pause you for a second? I'm gonna pause you for a second. 999.
Of course.
Is that done by the same people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first one in the series.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I've played that game. It's really good.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Jesus,
So that's
sometimes
why you
Alan, I
should
actually
play
do
AI.
genuinely recommend a game. I'm genuinely recommending this guy's games. They're good. They are genuinely good. I'm not shitting you here.
Why didn't you say that?
We did.
I did this.
It goes 999, Virtual's Last Reward, Zero Time Dilemma, which you shouldn't play, and then AI the Somnium Files.
I mean,
love the-
AI Somnium Files is not actually part of the series. It's
Yeah, I know, but same
but
developer.
It is the same. I mean, it's
Is it
much the same
similar
tone
enough
and
stuff?
energy.
Okay. If I bought it and I played it, would I be disappointed as a bloke who is playing Gears 5 right now and really enjoying it?
Well, that
Why
depends. Do you
not?
like
If
things
you-
other than Gears 5, Alan? Do you like stuff? that
No,
has
I
story?
exist entirely around listening.
I mean, if your life,
Listen to
if your,
Fars talk to me forever.
if your life revolves around shooters, then you probably should just stick to Call of Duty and other crap.
I
but
haven't played Call of Duty actually.
or don't. It's terrible.
I probably will. very
Um,
soon.
But
It
if you
doesn't
like-
feel good. If you like Counter Strike, you're not gonna. It doesn't. Call of Duty doesn't feel good if you like Counter Strike.
I know, but it's also a console game, so like.
Black
lamau.
Ops felt okay. I
Black
didn't
Ops
mind
2
the
is-
feel. The Black Ops was okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna stop like ruining this commentary. I will say that I will maybe buy it if I see it cheap. I will pick it up out of respect of your opinions because I don't think that you would recommend me a bad game.
No, I
Only
genuinely
if you
recommend
play AI, I will Let's Play Patho.
Oh shit. We're doing high stakes, high rewards gameplay here, boys. All right, no, we're doing it. Frick it. All right, no, we're in. No, but you should actually play Patho
Okay,
though. It's
crap.
really good.
No, I need to Let's Play Patho.
All right,
And on that note, we're going to music. We're going to music from.
Athletic 2 again.
No.
The same song.
My turn. My turn. It's going to be AI Somnium Files. There we go. There's
Alright.
some good music in that game. So. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so now that we've looked behind, let's look forward. Obviously, we know that there's going to be games in 2020. It's not going to stop. They're not going to stop just releasing them. So let's talk about some of the stuff that we've got coming over the next year that we are looking forward to. I have here a little list of stuff that's already been confirmed, and I'll just run through it and talk about the ones that are good. So I won't be talking about Doom because fuck Doom.
No, Doom's good. No,
Doom's
heck
terrible.
you. Doom is great.
Doom's
Heck
terrible
you. Why do you hate good things, Matt?
because I hate Doom.
Okay.
Talking about
That's
stuff
fair
that
enough,
is
I guess.
actually
I mean,
good,
you've
though.
already talked about it already. We know what's coming.
Yeah, we've mentioned Doom. Doom's coming. Alan's happy about Doom. Yay, Doom.
I'm
But we actually have
you
good stuff
Doom.
coming. Like Yakuza Like a Dragon. That's a turn-based
Yeah!
Yakuza game. That's coming in
okay.
January, and I cannot
That's
wait. That's going to
exciting.
be so great fun.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
sounds
Persona
really good.
Yakuza. Or
I will
Yakuza
buy
Persona.
that on release.
I'm going to play that. I'm going to play the living crap out of that. And then we also have, well, we mentioned Tokyo Mirage Sessions earlier, not for Alan, but for everybody else. That's a good thing. There's also the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics.
Yeah,
coming.
that's for me.
I'm really hoping that's good, but it won't be, unfortunately, because it's a Netflix game. And so far, Netflix games like 0 for 2 in terms of actually being worth playing. The Stranger Things game was absolutely woeful. And then Narcos, which wasn't a Netflix game, but it was based on a Netflix series. Narcos was even worse. So not happy.
What is Narcos even meant to be?
Oh, it's an
It's
XCOM.
about
It's an XCOM
Pablo
ripoff.
Escobar.
Why would you make an XCOM game about the drug war? That seems incredibly irresponsible.
No.
Anyway.
It's not just an XCOM clone, Alan. It's an XCOM clone where you can only control one character at a time.
That
You
seems
don't
bad.
even have. Yeah, it's really bad. It's so bad.
That seems like you're not playing XCOM. It seems like you're playing like a bad game.
Um,
Great, alright.
we also have
You had no metaphor
Grand
for that
Blue
one.
Fantasy Versus coming
Okay.
out, which is a good game for weebs like Harv and I.
Hey, don't let me into this one. I don't know
No,
what Grand Blue
Harvard,
is.
you're in this. You're in
You're,
this.
you're going to, Alan, Harvard, you're going to play
Alan.
Grand Blue Fantasy Versus and you're going to like it because I'm already assigning you as the one who's going to review it. So,
I actually have
Get
no
over it,
idea
man.
what Grand Blue Fantasy is. Is it a role-playing game? Is it a fighting game?
Oh,
is it a
okay.
rhythm game?
So Grand Blue Fantasy is a massive game in Japan, like an absolutely massive mobile game. It's one of those ones
Oh
that
no.
is pulling people away from console games to play this thing instead. It's huge. It's mammoth. I remember walking into Tokyo Game Show, I think it was 2 years ago, and they had the biggest booth. They had an entire ship built to promote this bloody game. It was one game, one mobile thing. It took up like a
Is it one of those games that plays
by
itself?
I haven't played it because it's Japan. My wife has, and she actually quite liked it. So,
Harvard, can you document
one-
your
but
reaction
this-
to this game?
but this
Please.
thing, as far as I'm aware, is actually an actual role-playing game, like a console role-playing game that they just use the Grand Blue Fantasy World for. I don't
Oh,
know
the
why they localized it
universe.
because
Okay.
the mobile game is not localized into English, but they are, and good on Exceed to bring it out. It looks good. If you go and look at screenshots and stuff, it is a good-looking game.
I was
Um,
going to say, who is that for?
for me, probably.
For weebs.
Okay,
Like,
it's literally just for Matt.
Yeah,
They made a
exactly.
game for Matt. All right, well, that's good.
Exceed got in contact with me and asked me, "Hey, what game do you want to play?" And I was like, "Oh, just make the Blue Fantasy." And they're
This
like,
is a game
"Okay,
I've
well,
never played before and have no
You
relation
got a
to.
free
I
pass
want that.
and you didn't pick a good game.
Anyway, also
God.
in February, I want to quickly talk about it. It is out now on PC, but Darksiders Genesis comes out on the consoles as well. I think it's better suited for consoles just because I prefer to
that's
play
on
games on
Game
consoles than
Pass.
PC. But Darksiders Genesis is a really neat Diablo clone for people that don't want to do Diablo now that Blizzard has turned into the evil blood-sucking corporation that it is.
Okay, Diablo wasn't even that good anyway.
Unfortunately, it comes to us from THQ Nordic, which is
Hey,
its
The
guys, we're
lesser
gonna
of
go-
two evils, but only
Shout out
slightly.
to Mark.
I'm a
Shout out
gamer.
to
I'm
Mark.
gonna go talk to you to 4chan to like ask you some questions about some things.
Anyway, in
Do
all
you
honesty,
hate
Darksiders
nationalities that aren't white?
is
Yes.
a really
good.
neat is a really neat Diablo clone. I really enjoyed it. I've got a review going up on DDNet probably by the time this podcast is out, and it's really I actually really did enjoy it. So I
Matt,
will definitely double dip to have it on my Switch and play it on the go.
Can I interrupt really quickly? I just want to point out the biggest gaming cock up of the year is THQ Nordic going to 4chan for an interview? Like that's
Yes.
No,
That's-
they didn't go to 4chan. They went to 8chan.
They went to
They went
8chan. It's much
Going
worse.
to H- What?
They went
No,
to the
they
site
didn't.
that didn't want
Oh, not
4chan
a child.
users.
Not a child porn site.
But
No.
let's not talk about this. Let's talk about more pleasant things.
I'm going to say don't support them personally. That's all right.
Next, we also
Animal
have.
Crossing.
No, we're getting there. But first,
Yeah.
Persona
We want
5
to talk about
Scramble-
Game of the Year.
Persona 5 Scramble.
Who cares? It's not Animal
What?
Crossing.
Persona 5 Scramble, yeah, I'm not.
The
fussed.
Warriors.
What's
the
it
Warriors
about?
Persona. I
No,
can't wait.
okay. To be fair, this is the one game that will get me to the Warriors series. Like, that is the one game I'm going to buy it on release. I will do that. Matt, you can hold it to me. I will talk to you on the podcast about it on release, and I will probably hate it.
See, I'm with Alan here. I'm hoping it's going to be the final game, which will make me actually enjoy Warriors. Every other spin-offy thing I've hated so far, like
Brent, did you
Final-
play Hyrule Warriors?
yes, I did play Hyrule Wars, and I also played Final Fantasy. Wow,
Dragon
Fire
Quest?
Emblem
Emblem.
Warriors.
Did you hate both of them?
Yes, I did.
But
yeah,
those
I hated
are
Hyrule
more,
Warriors.
those are more Warriors games. This one is more the RPG side of things. So for people who aren't that familiar with all of this stuff, the Dragon Quest Warriors games, which is Dragon Quest Heroes, I believe that's what they're called, aren't they? Yeah, Dragon Quest Heroes is more RPG-like than other Warriors games, and it feels different to play. And Persona 5 Scramble is more in that mold. So it'll be an action RPG thing, and it'll obviously be inspired by Warriors, but it'll be different enough that I think people who aren't usually fans of Warriors games will be able to get into this one. At least that's what it seems like from what I've seen of it.
I'll give it a try.
It's worth giving it a
I
go
would-
because it's Persona 5, and let's face it, Persona 5 is great. Okay, moving on to March. March has Final Fantasy VII Remake. Boo.
Wow.
Screw
Oh,
off.
that's so
No,
soon.
no.
Is it the
Very
first, just the first
I'm
bit in
interested.
Midgar? Or is
The
the
only
whole
thing- The only thing that makes me happy about Final Fantasy VII Remake is apparently there's a version where you can turn off the action stuff and just play it like a normal Final Fantasy
turn-based
game.
thing?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
heard
so
that
you
somewhere.
Fair.
You turn off the ATB system and you go back to old school. Yeah.
Yeah,
To be
which
fair,
is what I want.
though,
I want that.
Final Fantasy 15 did action-ish turn-based combat really well, so I feel like probably they'll find a good middle ground.
I liked 15 a
Right.
lot, and I actually got along with the combat system fine, but I just want Final Fantasy. Like, I want a
Legit,
Final
like when we
Fantasy game.
saw Final
Well,
Fantasy
you've got
15
Dragon Quest.
gameplay, it didn't look turn-based, and I think the same thing here. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like it'll be turn-based, but it'll feel turn-based.
I mean, let's face it, I'm going to play it. I probably enjoy it enough because it is Final Fantasy, but yeah, Square Enix has still got to prove
I-
itself with that one for me.
Yeah.
I am just
also
worried
Tifa
anything
dies.
that Nomura is running. Anything that Nomura runs, I'm just worried about because Kingdom Hearts 3 was very good, but it was very Nomura and it was very divisive as a result
Oh,
of that.
everyone
So-
forgot about that game.
Yeah, that game came out this year and I still love it.
No one's
It's
talking
bad.
about that game.
But it was poo. Langrissa 1 and 2 comes out. Not a game for most people, but if you do enjoy your Fire Emblem,
Who is that for?
Langrissa, it's for people who like Fire Emblem. It's good. I quite like
So,
Langrissa.
it's
I'm looking
everyone's
forward
a
to
dad.
I have
Wait,
heard
people
it's
who
good.
like Weeb Fire Emblem or people who liked original Fire Emblem?
original Fire Emblem. It came
What
out
are
in
you
the West as
talking
song
about?
originally.
All Fire Emblem is Weeb Fire Emblem.
Oh, I don't know. The community's all like, the new game
It's
sucks
pretty
because it's
weeb.
too weeby.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
just
know.
because people got a
No,
gatekeep.
dude.
And people are terrible. Also in March we have Neo 2, and I cannot
Yeah, that's
describe
what I
enough how much I'm looking forward to Neo 2. Neo was my favorite, is my favorite Warriors like
Souls like.
Dark Souls like.
Warriors
And I played the beta of Neo 2 or the demo or whatever they call them these days when they throw them up on the PSN, and it's even better. I'm just so excited for Neo 2. I'm really,
The fact that
really.
there's a car revving up in the background of Matt's
I know.
wedding right now is making this even because it's like he's getting hyped. He's like revving his
I'm
engine.
so hyped. I'm so
He's-
excited. I love
He's revving the steel.
Neo is like it's like Souls game, but with Japanese culture thrown in, and that's cool. That's awesome. And with Sekiro being such a disappointment from that regard, yay for Koei Tecmo. Speaking of Koei Tecmo, like 3 days later, they got Fairy Tail coming out as well. Not for Alan, but for anybody who likes Fairy Tail, there you go. That should be good
The
fun.
least me game in the world.
Uh, Well, I don't recommend you watch the anime, Alan. Let's put it that way.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Wait,
Matt.
Fairy
You
Tail's
realize
like-
it's taken it's taken me 3 weeks to get the courage to watch JoJo. I
Yeah, you're
don't think you understand.
JoJo's
I will like JoJo. I'm gonna watch Golden Wind, and it's gonna be great because I like Giorno. I'm gonna cosplay as Giorno. You'll see it.
And then that's basically the first 3 months of 2020. And then there's a kind of more vague set of games that are coming out afterwards. Well, they got release dates, but they'll probably be pushed or changed or moved around a bit because it is quite a while until they come out. There's Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that's a pre-order. I'm gonna pre-order that. That's
boring.
It's the most Alan game in the world. I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
that shit.
I got no interest in that one.
Yeah, I can tell.
Except on Stadia. I'll play it on Stadia because Stadia is
Oh, you would. You absolutely would. You do it just to spite me. It's like
I
you
really would.
brought the most Alan game to the least Alan platform.
Marvel's Avengers was also coming out
No,
next year.
who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Honestly. No, okay, this isn't drunk Alan talk. This is genuine, just like real talk moment, all right? No.
So what Alan's
you
actually saying is that he's genuinely real talk drunk all the time.
No, okay, so if you are excited about the Square Enix Avengers game, I would like you to look in a mirror and just look at what you've become.
See, I'm excited for it because I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna get it and we're gonna play it with my like friends, like 5-year-old, 4-year-old, whatever age he is now, and it's gonna be like, he's gonna be like Spider-Man, and I'm like, yes, it's
Get
Spider-Man.
him Spider-Man then.
He
Get
is.
him Spider-Man
But
in the game.
this one's
You
like
will
the
like
one where like watching all his friends. So he's got Iron Man and Hulk and the other guys.
You
I
know
like
what?
that you can't name a fourth Avenger.
Iron Man,
Ant-Man.
Hulk, and Spider-Man, known for their Iron Man-ness.
Moving on.
Anyway,
Moving
no,
on.
that game sucks.
Moving on. There's also Wasteland
that
3
entire-
coming out next year. Wasteland 3
Yeah.
Wasteland.
That's
should be good.
that is a huge like spectacle nerd game.
Did
It is
not
a
know you were
train
making a
simulator
third one.
nerd game.
Wasteland 2 was basically what Fallout should have become. So Wasteland 3 is
You're
great.
incorrect because Outer Worlds exists.
The last Fallout 76, yeah. The Last of Us Part 2 also comes out next year, which is good if you like your stupid gore porn.
I don't care.
So-
No one. I'm
Um,
really glad that someone enjoys that game, but I just could not give less of a toss.
and then just super quickly running through some of the stuff that hasn't got a firm release date yet, but we do know will come at some point, or possibly will be delayed further, but probably not. There is a new Turtle War game, which is based on Troy. I do love Trojan history, so I'm actually looking forward to that.
I think it's
Deadly
going to get really old though if you just use a horse every time. Like that's gonna. I feel like that's gonna
Just
throw.
every single battle, just like big horses.
Yeah.
And every
Hey guys,
city's
you know
just like, wow, a
No.
horse. We didn't see that coming.
No,
So-
no, it won't just be a horse seed. The thing is, you'll be able to build different animals, like a cow or a
You have a
chicken.
bunny this time.
Bunny.
Here's a gift bunny for you. The horse was a meme. The bunny is for real. That's got like chocolate in it.
Wait, so is it's like historically accurate Total War, or is it like mythological
No,
hydras?
No, it isn't
Harvard, I
called-
don't know how much history you've done, but there's no such thing as historically accurate accounts of Troy. That's like,
No, but Troy
it's all
existed,
fantasy.
right?
it existed, but that's like saying Robin Hood existed. Sure, he did, but
He just
Okay,
wanted to
so
shut down immediately.
it would have
Yeah.
been a really big game if it was historically
I mean,
accurate, Troy.
you're actually relying on a dude called Homer for any of your history of Troy, and that's all really.
So we
Moving on,
can command hydras, is what you're saying.
Deadly Premonition 2 comes out
I am
next year.
all
so
Hooray!
excited for that game. That
It's
game
like-
is going to be a big old instant day one purchase.
It's like the sequel to Twin Peaks, but video game version, which is
No,
I
see
hope
what
it's
the
extra
Twin Peaks
bad
made by a
texture.
man who is a madman.
Swery is great.
I
I
love
love Swery. He's the nicest guy.
Very, it seems like a bloke that I would have a drink with and be.
I gave him a big old hug when I.
You're already having drinks. You're too
No, I
drunk to
wouldn't-
have drinks with people.
I would love to have drinks with Swery. I feel like he'd be a good boy.
He's a good boy. He's actually a really cool guy. I enjoyed chatting with him. I did meet him when I was interviewing him for my book, and he's a really cool guy. Very, very easy to go in. Very
believe
down
it.
to earth. Him and Goichi Suda, I've got all the time in the world for.
Yeah, because they're both super cool and just nice.
Yeah, they're
They
great.
seem
They're-
very down to earth and ridiculous at the same time in the art they create, which I respect.
I love them. They're great. Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories. That's a game that I think people should have on their radar, including you, to be honest,
An
Alan.
unfortunate subtitle.
It does,
No.
but it's actually a game in
I'm
which
not gonna touch it because of the subtitle.
it's not like that. It's so
No,
basically
but
you're
you
in a
can say that, but I don't trust you. That's the issue.
concept is very Japanese. You're in a city and a massive disaster hits. I think it's an earthquake this time around.
Wait, is this the game equal to the one with Raymond Price on the Wii? Is Disaster Day of Crisis?
Yes, there was the
Oh
Wii
no.
one.
No, I played that game. That was bad.
You didn't like Disaster Day of Crisis? That was
didn't.
better than
It-
whatever the other game was at the time, which
Uh,
other people wanted. Everyone wanted
Handle
Project
Out.
Hammer. Like, this was way better. This was like Disaster. Day of Crisis.
It was a disaster. You are correct.
It was a
No,
great game.
it was
I
good. It had a good plot.
I'm really glad that Harvard is here to back me up by laughing at my bad jokes.
It was a great game, and I will have no debate on this. It is a good game, Alan. Right, moving on.
Yeah,
No More
sure.
Heroes 3 comes out next year. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Can't wait for
no
that.
way. It's been
Yes.
so busy.
I mean, Goichi Suda should probably stop making No More Heroes games and make a new Lollipop Chainsaw, but I'll take anything from him. So
I want to
good.
see him make more new IPs instead of, falling back on
I
his
want
franchise.
Luigi Suda
No,
to
he
just do
owes
bunch of
me a
development
Lollipop Chainsaw.
and then just like make something new.
He
I
owes me.
want him to do that. Oh,
We
heavens.
also have Rune Factory 5 coming next year. Hooray!
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds
The series
really
that
good. I would play that.
the series that everybody thought was dead is come back, which is great. Rune Factory being the mix of Harvest Moon and
Who's
RPG.
I
making
was gonna say,
it?
is that the DS game? Like
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
just
it's the 3DS game where the developer
Mm.
collapsed. But who's making it now?
That's a question. I know Nipponichi is publishing Marvelous.
Okay, sure.
So Marvelous got the rights for it.
Good for them.
Yeah, good on
Yeah,
them.
good. It's
It
money
should
for
be
them.
good. Should be good fun.
I can't imagine that game will ever be bad because I remember playing the first one on DS and being like, "This is pretty fun."
And
So-
then I also want to mention a little bit of an odd one, I guess, but Vampire, because I haven't mentioned on the podcast before, but Vampire the Masquerade.
Vampire the
Bloodlines
Masquerade
2.
2.
I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to that. I'm a
That
big
is a
fan.
very Alan game as well. This is like the weirdest overlap of both Matt and Alan games.
Well, I'm actually a big fan of the pen and paper game, like the
Okay, that's where we diverge.
the pen and paper RPG series by Winterwolf.
Sure.
White Wolf. I
Sure.
can't remember the name of it. The company that makes the pen and paper game. The tie-ins have been patchy over time, but what actually got me keen on this one again is actually Vampire, the Don't Nod game. That was it wasn't a licensed game, but it was very much in the vein of, and I'm kind of keen on checking out another one now. So that's good. I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, I guess for Harvard, he's probably the only one that cares about this, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition comes out on Switch.
Yes.
I'm really feeling
I'm so
it.
keen for that.
It's Roaring time.
It's Roaring time!
Yeah,
It's right.
to be
It's
honest, I
probably
played
one of the
Xenoblade 2 with the voices off, so that's probably the only reason I could stand it.
Oh, Xenoblade 2 had one good section where you needed to play with the voices on, and that was like
Yes,
you went into
Chile
this,
and yeah.
you went into this underground, like down south area, and they all had
Yeah,
Australian
so
accents, and it was so bad. They were terrible Australian accents too. It
Hey,
was
we're
the
talking about
worst thing,
bad
but it was
Australian
also the
accents.
best bit.
Did you? Okay, there's a part in DQ11 where there's just Australian people in like Phnom Penh, but it's not Phnom Penh, it's Nom Non or something. It's terrible. It's so stupid, and they just are so clearly like, we're making fun of bogans, and it's like, yeah, sick, it's a good joke, but they have terrible accents, and
I think that's
what's
good.
the world? What does the world think of us?
Isn't Dragon Quest like typed out though? So it's not even.
It's voice
It's
acted. It's voice acted.
It's voice acted. That bit is voice acted because I got mad because I was like,
Oh.
this is one of the many points of Alan plays Dragon Quest and is mad, but also likes the game, but then is mad again.
Why do I
Right.
not remember that the game is voice acted?
It's
Did
voice
you
acted.
play the Switch version or did you play the?
I played the Switch
No, the PS4
version.
version's voice acted too.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, no,
Definitely voice
I'm
acted.
playing on Switch. It's definitely voice acting. They're like, oh, get out of the bloody way. We're
Oh
buying.
Anyway.
no, I played with Japanese voices. That's why.
I mean, that's
Anyway,
probably
the
the
last
impact.
The last one I want to mention before we go to music is clearly going to be the game of 2020. Here's my prediction right now. It's called Cook Serve Delicious 3. didn't realise there was one
Oh,
and two.
no.
But there's a third one as well. So we all know that that's going to be the best game of 2020. And on that note, we're going to go to
No, I want to say,
music.
if
Did
we
you
all
mention Animal
get-
Crossing?
Alan, if you say one more thing, then it's going to
No,
be
if-
music from Cook Serve Delicious 2.
If we ever get enough
Right,
views
it's
on
music
this
from Cook Serve.
episode, we are going to do a DDNet cooperative Cook Serve Delicious session, and we're going to upload it somehow, and it's going to be a shit show.
Okay,
So,
the music is
That's
from
pretty
Cook
true.
Serve Delicious 2. If we can't find music for Cook Serve Delicious 2,
no,
it'll be
we'll be able
music
to find.
from
No, because that
Dragon-
game rocks. I will find it.
It'll be music from
I
Dragon.
will find it.
Serve.
Delicious.
Cook. Serve.
Delicious.
2. Cook. Serve. Delicious. Cook. Serve.
Cook.
Serve. Delicious. Cook. Serve. Delicious. Just gonna cook. Serve. Delicious. Serve. Delicious. We're gonna cook. Serve. Delicious.
And welcome back. Okay, we're going to do one more section of the podcast because this podcast is going to be sitting on the website for like 4 weeks anyway. So we'll give you good contents, lots of contents that'll keep you going for the
Hey, we
Christmas
broke him.
break. What?
We broke him. He said content.
I did. Contents.
We
You know, you
get
could
the
I
put
put
given
an
a
S at
catch-
the end. I'm making fun of the word. How
A catchy name like
This is the
Mega
rule.
Cast. Content Cast.
contents. We're going to talk about
hate
games
that.
that we can. Well, I don't know. This is Alan's section. I'm lost.
Yeah, can
Alan,
I
what was
take
this section about?
Oh my god.
Did anyone
Okay.
disappointing games?
No, it's not disappointing. We're doing games that we forgot existed.
Ah, right.
So-
Okay.
Yeah. We
Kingdom
forgot
Hearts
what the
3, basically.
thing was
Yeah,
about.
Kingdom Hearts 3 just disappeared off the face of the earth. No one talked
Yeah,
about it.
it's sold very heavily, and then everyone forgot about it, and that makes
True
me
story.
sad because
It wasn't actually nominated for a single category in our DDNet awards either. like
Wait, it came
nothing.
out
Or
last
in any other
No.
awards in the world.
No, I nominated it for soundtrack because the soundtrack was very good.
Yeah, but I took that off in the shortlist because
Okay,
nobody else
well,
did.
yeah,
Oh wait, no.
okay.
I mean, I think we had it listed on the shortlist for Xbox One or something. Xbox because we didn't have anything else.
Xbox is where we put games that
Yeah,
don't go
Xbox is where we
anywhere.
put games that don't
It's the
have anywhere
games
else to
that,
go. It's like
that Matt
graveyard.
doesn't want Alan to recommend.
But it didn't get any votes there either. So like everybody forgot about this
That's
game.
really
It's true.
sad.
It's a very forgettable
No.
game.
No, it's not. I still think about it once every month.
They waited too long to release the final one, I think, because they were hyping
And
up
the
the
final
big conclusion to the story.
It was not a good
And-
conclusion.
No one remembers the build up towards it anymore. Kingdom Hearts 2 was like 15 years ago.
No, the issue is that we have a game that is really good in the last 2 hours, but the first 30 hours are just shithouse.
I see they're really subscribing to the Japanese school of game design.
Yeah, it's I enjoy it because I'm a huge dork and I like Kingdom Hearts and I will die for that franchise because I grew up with it. But I can also recognize the fact that the game is pretty much bad at some points. I still love it. I think it's a good time if, again, you need to have the background with it. And that's not something a lot of games will give you the time for.
Okay, counterpoint.
Yeah.
I had the background with it.
Oh.
I've played all of the Kingdom Hearts up to 3, but I had no interest in playing 3 and haven't played 3 because that series has not delivered anything that I wanted for the mix of
But
Final Fantasy and
you
Disney.
can't base
at
that
any
upon. And to be fair, they've also taken away all the Final Fantasy from that series. It's really sad.
Again?
No, even more, there's no Final Fantasy character. There's no Squall. There's no Yuffie. There's no Cloud. There's no nothing. There's no secret Sephiroth boss. It's
Damn.
and
Why
you know the
even
worst
play
thing
the
is
game?
it's definitely not Square's fault as well. That's the worst part. It's
And also they ruined
definitely
Donald.
I didn't ruin Donald.
I
Donald
wanted,
sucked to begin with.
I wanted playable Donald Duck. You know, the original promise of
Why
Kingdom
don't you
Hearts
just
was
play his Goose Game then?
Goose Game.
You
Was
play
great.
Goose Game.
I do play
That's what.
Goose Game an
That's
awful
the
lot.
game for you.
I don't
Matt,
think Donald
that's
Duck
for
is
you.
Goose Game.
But Goose Game, see, in the Goose Game, Alan, it's a goose, but Donald's a duck. There's a difference here.
Duck's a goose.
It's a difference. They're not the same thing.
Ducks are geese, Matt. In this economy, in this Australian economy, where we exist upon building education and jobs in the same system, ducks are geese.
That's why I've got my friend's kids saying Duck Game every time I put on Goose Game.
Dude, Duck Game's really good though.
That game is really good.
It is great.
I don't know. I would
I
also
love
like
that
to.
video games are at a point where we can just say Duck Game, and we're like, oh yeah, that probably
That's a good
exists.
game. That's a good ass game. I'd also like to point out the fact that we had the absolutely brilliant remake of Resident Evil 2 this year as well. That game is fantastic.
I don't think that game was overlooked. I think that, I mean, it's up for awards and stuff. It's fine. It's done fine.
I don't know if it's gotten the clout it deserves though, because it is very good, and it makes me very excited for the RE3 remake because I loved the bits with Mr. X, and I thought that they could do more with it, and I think they will do more of that in RE3 because it's more of a design choice in that game. So, yeah, no,
I honestly,
it's a
Alan,
good-ass
I don't
game.
know. I've seen it mentioned quite a bit in the end of year lists and stuff.
Has it
I
been?
think it. Yeah, definitely.
Alright,
Yeah.
well.
I've
hasn't
seen
been
It's
it
always
a
gotten
few
like a
times.
glancing mention.
Did Into the Breach come out this year?
No, I don't think so. I
No,
think
that
it
was last year.
Oh
I
my
will say
God.
one game that is a very positive, very happy, very joyful game that has been kind of forgotten, and that's Yoshi. Yoshi's Crafted World
Oh,
came out this year.
Yoshi's Crafted World. I've heard mixed things about that.
Oh, it's
It's
delightful.
It's
wonderful.
not like a challenging game. That's why people don't talk about it. It's sort of gamer game.
Yeah, it's
you
not
know?
a gamer game, but it's a lot of fun. It's bright, it's cheerful, it's happy, it's wholesome, it's good. And it annoys me that people forget about it. Like, I've actually seen people, even like diehard Nintendo fans, say, oh, there wasn't anything that Nintendo released in the first 3 months of the year. And it's like, dude, Yoshi? And they're like, oh, yeah. So. you know.
Oh yeah. Matt, what about Tom Clancy's The Division 2?
I mean, that's a
That
game
was
that should have
years
been
ago.
forgotten. I'm pretty happy that that game got forgotten.
What about
That was
Tom
legitimately
Clancy's
this
Ghost
year.
Recon Breakpoint?
The very.
That was also this year.
That was also this year, yeah.
Oh, actually,
No
on-
wonder
on-
Ubisoft delayed all their games. What?
not on a
Ubisoft-
joking point. Devil May Cry 5 came out this year, and that game
Oh, yeah.
absolutely slaps.
No one talks about the Cry 5. But it just came to the very border of being talked about.
Oh,
It
can we
was
talk
number
about
6 in everyone's top 5.
I mean, you're not allowed to like Devil May Cry 5, though, because the fan base for that game is so toxic. It makes the Pokemon guys look like nice people.
I would like to take a moment of silence for our friends at BioWare and their attempt with Anthem.
Was that
Stop.
this year?
That was this year.
year.
And
Are you
but
serious?
as far as I'm aware, it's still a top 10 selling game of the year.
Yes,
which is-
because it's $5.
It's literally it's less than a coffee.
Also, it actually sold really well at launch, and just nobody played it after it came out.
No, everyone played it and they were like, okay, I'm not gonna play this again.
I
Well,
played
they
the
stopped.
beta. I didn't really hate it, but I didn't really love it. I feel like it was a very sterile, generic, Destiny-like game. Like, I don't know.
I have a friend who actually did really like it, but I think when Borderlands 3 came out, they were like, okay, let's jump ship, you know?
Can we do an indie game sort of like quick throw thing? Because I want to do indie stuff really quickly.
Okay,
Is
I
that
don't
okay?
remember any, but I'll try to think
Okay.
of some.
Trine 4 came out this year. Really, really good game. Katana Zero
Trine
came
4?
out this year.
Trine
Yeah, Trine
4.
4. And then Katana Zero, which was a 2D like side-scrolling version of Hotline Miami, basically. Really, really
Yeah,
good
I
game.
know that
Also
one.
made by Devolver. My Friend Pedro also came
My
out this
Friend-
year. Really, really fun game.
My friend was just very okay.
I think
Ooh.
it's a great game.
Killer Queen
Baba
Black
Is You.
came out this year. Oh, Baba Is You is so good.
Baba Is You is one of the best puzzle games ever made. I am going to die on that hill. It is very, very good. Please buy it if you have not bought it already. It's on Switch, it's on PS4, it's on PC. It's probably on Xbox. Buy it. It's very, very good.
Alan,
Okay,
while
because
you're
you
don't
naming
know.
like indie games, which like everyone knows, I just want to say the best indie game of this whole year, the best game in general, I reckon. Not notwithstanding Death Stranding, Songbird. Like, seriously, that game is legitimately great. It's a great game.
Songbird's a delight. I actually like
It is.
Songbird a lot.
And it's also a forgotten game. No one talks about it. No one really cared.
It's like a hyper indie game, so it was always going to be forgotten pretty quickly. But it's very bright and cheerful and wholesome goodness. It really is a lovely game. I've got an indie game that I absolutely loved.
Yeah, go for it.
Tokyo Dark Remembrance.
What is that title?
It's
I
a
mean,
great
it's not
game.
that made up.
It's a great game.
It
I mean, it was
sounds
originally
a little bit made up.
It was originally called Tokyo Dark, which makes sense within like 2 seconds of you playing the game. The Switch
Tokyo
release,
and it's dark.
yeah, the Switch release added Remembrance to the as a subtitle. But it's an amazing game. I didn't know anything about Tokyo Dark before actually getting the code for the Switch version and starting to play it. I think the original was out 2 or 3 years ago, but it's a great story. It was created by a team of it's effectively a Japanese game, but it was created by a team of people, expats that lived in Japan or spent a lot of time in Japan, and basically it's a whole a bunch of people from around the world, and no Japanese developers. And it's basically reflective of their experience in Japan or their view, I guess an expert look into the country, as in a resident look into the country, but from an outsider's perspective. And it has that interesting feel to it, which no other developer could really capture because no other developer is Japanese based, but not staffed by Japanese people. And it's a really clever horror game that looks at exploitation as a theme across a lot of kind of Tokyo's kind of underground society, and it's really good. It's hard to find a point of comparison.
It did interest me a little bit.
I think probably the best comparison would be something like, in terms of tone and intent, something like that film 8mm, if anybody's seen that, which is kind of gritty, grimy, kind of very dark. It's not a fun game to play in the sense that it's not like entertainment, but it's quite potent, very strong, and very, very, that game was probably one of my highlights of the year that came out of nowhere. I just didn't expect it, and really loved it.
Okay, we're going to continue on with some other indie games as well then, and I'm going to quickly throw out Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, that was a delight.
Really an indie game.
That deserves it.
We don't talk about it, but that's a good game.
It's a very good game. If you played the caca in the background, is so good. The Cadence of Hyrule is a very, very good game. It's a sequel, not really a sequel, it's more like a spin-off of Crypt of the Necrodancer and also of Legend of Zelda. I would say it's probably my favorite Zelda game of the last 7 years.
What?
No, when did Twilight Princess come out?
No.
Sorry,
you can't do that.
is your like favorite Zelda game Twilight Princess?
No, it's Majora's, then followed by Twilight, then by Cadence.
This is not a typical Zelda fan list. This is not a good list.
It really is.
Majora's
It's
good,
really
but...
showing your age, Alan.
I know. Anyway, moving on from Cadence, I'm going to start a fight on this. Void Bastards also came out this year. Very, very good, like roguelike first-person shooter. Highly worth playing. Also recently released was The Legend of Bumbo, which is a prequel of sorts to The Binding of Isaac. And if you know me, you will know that I will die for The Binding of Isaac, because that was what started me off in this game journalism nonsense journey. We also have Disco Elysium this year, which I feel like needs to have more people talking about it, because it is a old school CRPG in the style of Fallout, in the style of Baldur's Gate. Actually, Matt, this is a game for you. Genuinely, this is a game for you. It's built entirely for you. Very, very good.
Just waiting for the console release of it. I will check it out if it gets a console release, because it does look good.
It's made enough money. I feel that it will probably get a console release. It's an old school CRPG. It's built for that. There's been a lot of good stuff this year. There's one game that I'm forgetting. I had a list on my phone and my phone has just died, so I can't read it off.
I'm just going to name a game. It's going to be Grease. Grease came out on the PlayStation 4 this year. It came out on other consoles last year, so it's a this year release, and so everyone should play Grease. Gris? G-R-I-S.
It's grey in French.
Grey.
Well, we're gonna be wrong.
Grey's anatomy.
I have a few more picks as well. The Friends of Ringo Ishikawa is a very good game because it looks
it's so
and
good.
feels. Yeah,
It's so
it looks
good.
and feels like River City Ransom. So you get into it and you're like, oh, I'm gonna beat the crap out of some hoodlums, and then you realize that it's actually not that at all. It's an existential game about what you're gonna do when you graduate from high school, and everyone's expectations of you are that you're gonna be a hoodlum, and it's really sad because then you take out your aggression on people around you, and it's an interesting way of using mechanics.
I went into that game like not expecting much because it did look just like a brawler, and I just thought it was going to be a bit of button mashing fun. But then then it got really intense really quickly, and it was like this deep expose on the feelings of alienation of youth and stuff, and it was just like really intense story driven game, and I loved it. I thought it was an amazing.
Yeah, and the story behind it is so interesting too. It's made by one Russian person whose dad actually helped him out on the fighting animations. His dad did the motion captures and stuff. It's really interesting.
Was his dad like Vladimir Putin? Was it like?
I just assume that every Russian dude knows how to throw downs. Okay, what else is good this year?
That's it. There was no other good games, and we
no other good games.
Podcast now. That's it. It was it. That was it.
Astral Chain. Everyone forgot about Astral Chain.
Astral Chain. That's true. We did forget about Astral Chain.
That's because
Heave-Ho is a really good multiplayer game.
No, it wasn't. I hated Heave-Ho.
No, Heave-Ho was so good.
I can't
You
stand
needed
all
to
that
have friends.
physics-based nonsense.
There are also other games that came out, such as Heave-Ho, which I think is a very, very good. Like,
Thank you.
no,
Alan.
don't laugh at the game. It's a good game. It's a game where you basically have to carry your mates, and it's just a nice party game. It's very similar to Gang Beasts in the physics sense, where you have to just control the game's physics to make it better. But it's a good time. I would recommend checking it out. And there are more games that we could mention, but this podcast is probably gone for too long at this point, so we're gonna have to call it.
Neocab is really good.
Yes.
Harvard.
Yes, let's continue
Harvard.
this. Also, while
we're
I
not
continue
finishing
this,
any more
I
games.
said
It's all over.
too many games, and we're finishing it.
that Nintendo
All
game
that.
with the paramedics, that was great. That was top notch.
Who gives a shit?
No, it's in the podcast. We haven't finished
Right.
yet.
No,
On
I know it's
that
in the podcast.
On that note, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and stuff. Not Alan. He's been naughty. I hope Alan has a really unpleasant Christmas. Yeah.
Make the Yuletide gay.
We're going to go to some Hatsune Miku Christmas music.
No, we're not. No.
Yes, I can. This is an unprecedented section. I can finish it however I want. I'm the boss. It's a Hatsune Miku Christmas
Please
song.
don't finish.
It's doing it. It's happening. I hope you all have a very lovely Christmas and a new year, and have safe and party filled and happy
I hope
time
that your
for all.
bike does not get stolen. That
I
is
hope,
my.
Alan,
Oh,
I
your
hope
bike.
somebody actually sends Alan a new bike. That would be a really nice Christmas gift. Somebody
It would
send
not.
Alan a bike. He
It's
needs
not
one.
going to happen.
And
Alan has
uh,
too much
gonna get
anger. He doesn't
stolen
need
again.
a bike.
thanks
They did
everybody for tuning in to Digitally Downloaded over the year. We'll be back next year, of course. It's been great doing all these podcasts and having you all listen, and we wouldn't do it without your support. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you all next year.